Story number 1. The Whispering Shadows of Room 333. Several years ago, Emily, a young businesswoman, found herself on a solo business trip to a quaint yet isolated hotel nestled deep within the misty mountains. The hotel, with its Victorian architecture, had an air of faded grandeur that intrigued her. Little did she know that her stay in room 333 would become a haunting experience she would never forget. On the first night, Emily was exhausted from her journey and eager for a good night's sleep. As she settled into the antique bed, she noticed a strange chill in the air, but dismissed it as an eccentricity of an old building. However, her unease intensified when she heard faint whispers echoing through the room, as if someone was speaking just beyond her hearing. Trying to rationalize the inexplicable sounds, Emily drifted into an uneasy sleep. She awoke abruptly at 3:33 a.m., the room cloaked in an oppressive darkness. To her horror, the whispers grew louder, and she felt an unseen presence in the room. Over the course of her stay, the strange occurrences escalated. Emily reported seeing shadowy figures out of the corner of her eye and feeling an icy touch on her shoulder. The hotel staff, though polite, dismissed her concerns, attributing them to the hotel's rich history. Desperate for answers, Emily researched the hotel's past. To her shock, she discovered that room 333 was the site of a tragic incident decades earlier. A guest had mysteriously vanished, leaving behind a string of unsolved questions and an air of lingering sorrow. As Emily delved deeper into the mystery, she began to experience vivid nightmares that seemed to mirror the events of the past. The line between dreams and reality blurred, and she found herself unable to escape the haunting echoes of the hotel's dark history. With a sleepless night spent in room 333, Emily checked out the next morning, her nerves frayed and her soul forever marked by the ghostly whispers and shadows that seemed to linger in the corridors of that secluded hotel. The memory of her solitary stay in room 333 haunted her, a chilling reminder that some places hold secrets that refuse to be forgotten. Story number 2. Alone and exhausted, Mark pulled into the desolate motel on the edge of a forgotten town, its flickering neon sign spelling out, "The Silent Rest." With no other options for miles and his car sputtering its last breaths, he hesitantly booked a room, number 13, under the ominous hum of the fluorescent lights. The night descended into an eerie silence as Mark settled into the dimly lit room. The wallpaper peeled at the edges, revealing the ancient secrets held within the motel's decaying walls. An unsettling chill lingered in the air, causing Mark to shiver despite the warmth of his worn-out jacket. Unable to shake the feeling of being watched, Mark turned the television on for background noise. As he flipped through the channels, an old black-and-white movie played, the characters frozen in scenes of terror. The static-filled whispers emanating from the TV seemed to blend with the creaking sounds that echoed through the desolate halls. Trying to dismiss his unease, Mark decided to take a shower to wash away the weariness of the road. In the steam-covered bathroom, he caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure in the mirror, an apparition with hollow eyes that seemed to stare into his very soul. Mark's heart raced as he fumbled for the light switch, only to find himself alone once more. Returning to the main room, Mark noticed an old guest book on the bedside table. Intrigued, he flipped through the dusty pages, revealing a chronicle of forgotten travelers, each one disappearing mysteriously after their stay in room 13. The realization struck him like a cold breeze. He was not alone in experiencing the motel's sinister secrets. As the night wore on, Mark heard footsteps echoing in the empty corridor outside his door. Panic set in as he realized the motel was far from vacant. Whispers, barely audible, reached him through the thin walls, speaking of long-lost tragedies and the cries of those who had met their fate within the decaying walls of the Silent Rest. With each passing hour, the darkness seemed to seep into the room, and the walls closed in on Mark. He tried to leave, but the doorknob refused to turn. Shadows danced on the frayed curtains, and distant cries echoed through the vacant halls. The once flickering neon sign outside now spelled the silent death. Mark's desperate attempts to escape were futile, and as the first light of dawn broke, the room returned to its superficial calm. The motel, concealing its malevolent secrets, awaited the next unsuspecting traveler, leaving Mark's fate entwined with the haunted history of Room 13 in the silent rest. As you guys can probably tell, I have a pretty new channel here, so if you like this type of video and want to watch more such videos in the future, please do consider giving my channel a like and a subscribe, as it will help me continue this series. On with the next video. Story number 3. Deep in the heart of a desolate town, Alex and Jordan found themselves stranded on a stormy night, seeking refuge in a motel that seemed to have been forgotten by time. The neon sign outside flickered ominously, casting an eerie glow on the cracked pavement. Room 13, the only available room, awaited them with its door slightly ajar, whispering tales of the unknown. As the friends settled into the room, a disquieting hush fell over the desolate motel. The air inside Room 13 felt heavy, pregnant with an unspoken malevolence. An old television hummed in the corner, casting sporadic shadows that danced on the walls like restless spirits. Attempting to shake off their unease, Alex and Jordan decided to explore the motel, its corridors echoing with the distant sounds of creaking floorboards and a melancholic wind. Room after room revealed an unsettling emptiness, each one locked in a silence that seemed to defy the raging storm outside. Their sense of dread intensified when they stumbled upon a decrepit stairwell leading to the basement. The air grew colder with each step downward, and the whispers of unseen entities echoed through the narrow passage. Reluctantly, they descended into the abyss below. In the dimly lit basement, they discovered a room bathed in an otherworldly glow. Forgotten artifacts, broken furniture, and discarded toys hinted at a dark history. A series of faded photographs on the wall revealed the faces of those who had once stayed in the motel, their eyes reflecting a profound sorrow. As the friends attempted to leave, the basement door slammed shut, trapping them in the ghostly chamber. The temperature plummeted, and a haunting figure materialized before them. A spectral woman with hollow eyes and a tattered dress. She beckoned them towards an ancient, padlocked door. Against their better judgment, Alex and Jordan unlocked the door, revealing a hidden chamber filled with dusty dolls arranged in a haunting circle. Each doll seemed to harbor a trapped spirit, whispering tales of tragedy and despair. The spectral woman warned them of the malevolent forces awakened by their presence. Racing back to Room 13, the friends found the atmosphere thick with an otherworldly tension. The television flickered violently, casting distorted shadows that danced with malevolence. Unearthly whispers permeated the room, weaving a tapestry of forgotten horrors that seemed to seep through the very walls. As the clock struck 3 a.m., the motel became a symphony of haunting echoes. Shadows writhed on the walls, and the spectral woman appeared once more, her voice a haunting lament. Alex and Jordan, gripped by terror, witnessed the room transform into a portal of the paranormal. With the first light of dawn, the storm outside subsided, and the once-forgotten motel returned to its facade of normalcy. The friends, haunted by the night's unearthly horrors, fled the desolate town, leaving Room 13 and its spectral secrets behind. The motel, shrouded in a perpetual darkness, awaited its next unwitting guests, its secrets lingering like a ghostly whisper in the wind. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. Till next time, and I will see you in the dark.